115-112. A dynamite game, a much-needed win for both sides. The Jazz prevail late. Donovan Mitchell making massively huge plays and willing the Jazz to a win at the free throw line. The Raptors with incredible defensive adjustments, and the Jazz show a grit and a grind and an advancement of who they have been the last few weeks back to the team that we have loved throughout this season. A huge win for the Jazz, and we're talking about it on POSTCAST. POSTCAST is brought to you by the Grip 6 belt right here, baby. Woohoo! I don't know what's going on. Grip 6. That's right. A Utah-made company with Grip 6 belt. Use the promo code LOCKED ON, and you end up with a 15% discount at Grip 6 belts. The honeycomb belt's my favorite. The straps and the buckles are separate, and you can get all you want at grip6.com. All righty. Yes, says Raymond. Clutch deal, says Ape and 9. You bet. That's exactly what that was from the Jazz today. A clutch victory. A much-needed win. They got back to 2 different 10-0 runs in this game. They came back a little bit to being the team that we've seen them. The most important single thing about this game is the Jazz in transition defense tonight were terrific. We talked about it yesterday. They allowed 1.8 points per transition opportunity for the for the Washington Wizards. The Raptors tonight at the end were at 1.1 points. It's really pretty good. And they also were only in transition 13% of the time. And off live rebounds, the Jazz did a really good job of defending throughout that ball game. So the area that has been the biggest problem for the Jazz recently, which is off their own misses, the other guys running back after you and making plays, and the Jazz did a really, really nice job defending that in this game today. And that was, to me, the biggest difference. But this game had all sorts of twists and turns. Nick Nurse and Quinn Snyder are 2 of the best coaches in the NBA. Yes, if you can hear the music in the background, yes, it was going all night while I was calling the game. They're called national parks or something like that. I don't know. But it was really loud while calling the game. Ron, you're wondering why I never let you talk during the game? I just told you I had to seriously focus. This is why. What a year. What a year. Anyway, Nick Nurse, the Jazz took a bunch of threes in the first half. In fact, if it wasn't dark in here, what a year, I could tell you. Jazz were 9 of 23 in the first half from 3. Nick Nurse came out and was like, you're not getting them anymore. They literally were guarding the Jazz chest to chest at 35 feet, forcing the Jazz to put on the deck and drive to the basket. And then to add the next level to it, which was particularly difficult, what the Jazz did was the fact that the Raptors have such athleticism that they could switch 1 through 5. So it's one thing if you're putting it on the deck at 35 feet out to try to beat guys. The flip side is, well, the easy answer, well, then set a pick. But you couldn't set a pick because then the other guy was on you, and they're actually doubling Donovan off all those picks. That's as difficult a defense as I've seen the Jazz have to attack all season long. And for them to get that done clutch late and make those plays, to me, is really, really fabulous in this ballgame. Interesting move. Bojan Bogdanovic did not close tonight's game. Joe Ingles closed and was vital. Mike Conley made a bunch of great plays. You saw the multiple ball handlers being particularly important. There's just no way Bojan could play under that kind of ball handling pressure if he got the ball in his hands the way the Raptors were playing tonight. So Quinn made that adjustment. The Jazz go 0 of 7 for threes in the third quarter of this game, and then they adjust in the fourth quarter. Ingles made a tough one. Clarkson made a tough one. They get out on a run. The Raptors bring it back, take the lead, and the Jazz close on a 10-2 run. It was really just a fabulous basketball game. There was probably only 3 or 4 possessions the whole game that were outside of 2 possessions. This was just good basketball. Kyle Lowry, big plays late. Raptors have been bad late in games because they don't have anybody other than Lowry. Jazz got it out of Lowry's hands to make other guys make plays. They couldn't. Just a lot of different aspects to this ball game for the Jazz. And let's get to the chats and the phone lines and the comments and all that kind of fun stuff today on this one. There's a lot to discuss on this ball game. Let's go to Xavier. Joe Ingles and O'Neal for Lonzo Ball or Zach LaVine. So that seems really unlikely and a really weird first question to come in that I accidentally touched on after a great win like that. I don't know. There's no way, by the way, that either of those teams would possibly make that deal. So I don't mean to like dismiss it, but like it's a weird time. Tough game with a win. I'll take it, says Steve. All right, there's Xavier again, trying to trade our players after a massive win. Jazz need to get back home. Yeah, this is a long trip. They have 2 days off in Chicago, and these guys really can't do much when they go on the road. So it needs to. The last play of the game was incredible. An amazing play by the Raptors. Like, it's perfectly constructed. And Rudy had to make an insane effort to be able to get to the basketball and make at least an impact on that shot. When you go watch that replay, what he did was incredible. Beautiful play construction by the Raptors. And that's the same play Tim Lacombe pointed out that OG Anunoby hit a game winner on last year. Why am I so glad we played tonight? Why was I so glad we played win and we forget about last night? Mitchell was awesome. The Jazz was really good tonight. They had an 8-sequence play stretch in the second quarter in which they got 8 straight stops. They went on 2 10-0 runs today. They still have not lost a game where they go on a 10-0 run. They were really, really good against a Raptor team that's fabulous. The Raptors might be 17-22, but they've lost 6 straight because they had all their guys in COVID protocol. They started the year 2-8. They're 15-9. Otherwise, for the Raptors, this was kind of the game in which they were going to win this game and then, in many ways prove that they're like back. This was a wildly important game for the Raptors. David, I'm scared what will happen to us in a 7-game series against the Lakers. Yeah, sure. Right. Like, you mean, yeah, like the Lakers are the defending champs. They're great. They have the best player in the history of the game. They have one of the 5 best players in the game right now. Like, yeah, like we would have to have a million things go our ways to be able to beat the Lakers in a 7-game series. Like, I mean, we're going to have to shoot like 45% from 3. We're going to have to get 53s up a night. Like, they're great. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Like, you don't walk to the NBA Finals without something crazy. And no one ever thought the Jazz were going to the NBA Finals until they went and won games. I don't think anyone still thinks the Jazz are going to the NBA Finals. Credit the Raptors. They play amazing defense. This is a great win. I'm with you, Dalen. Or Dallin, I don't know which. That was a great basketball game. Both sides. Absolutely fabulous. And the tension for us is at such a level right now because you just need the win so bad. Like, every time we made a mistake, it felt like, oh my gosh, that's a mistake that's going to cost us the game. And like I said it on the air, like you just felt that tension. But I also think that focus for generally the game was pretty fabulous. Donovan's closing will get the attention, but Rudy's D was critical late. I'm excited to go back and watch the end of the game. I don't really know. Favors did have a good game. Actually, I'm like his so absent the first quarter and then was really, really good after that. Nick Nurse incredibly upset about the free throw disparity. Kind of feels like the league took note of our complaining. That's interesting. I thought they just played such incredible pressure defense out on the wing that you had no choice but to go to the free throw line. Like, they were taking everything else away. All you had to do was drive. BJ wants to know about the ruling at 3 at halftime. Here's my ruling. Donovan Mitchell's got to guard the guy. Like, the clock didn't move. They then deemed he would have got it off anyway. Donovan's got to guard him. There's 0.4 seconds left. Guard him. Don't just stand there. That's on us, not on them. I'm not taking the officials on that one. With the trade deadline coming up, what, if anything, should the Jazz do, or should they? I'd really rather not get those questions after a massively awesome win. It seems really strange, but the Jazz really don't have much to do in regards to players to trade or players to move. What's going on with Bogey? Should we be concerned? I mean, I think he's got a confidence lull, right? He's in a slump. He's human. And I think that he's having he's definitely in a little bit of a struggle. I thought he adjusted his game and played pretty well tonight in a lot of ways. So I thought that, he's in a slump, right? Like, there's just nothing else to say about it. He's just, but Clarkson is too. Like, I'm a little surprised at how much everyone's just killing Bogey when his numbers are the exact same as Jordan Clarkson's for the last few weeks. Exact same. Is Joe going to closing over Bogey going forward with this incredible play? I mean, Joe's amazing right now. Joe should be talked about. I said this the other day. Joe should be the 6th man of the year talk. Joe's been amazing. So yes, I think that you'll probably see that. This is an interesting last comment. Joe on Absolute Fire. Andy says Boucher reminds me of Karolinko. Yeah, maybe. All right. Well, I'm going to keep listening to the national parks and just love being up here while that's going on. But luckily, we weren't in the arena because we couldn't have called the game there. Have a great one. Super win by the Jazz. This is